The massive alien ship appeared without warning above Earth's newest space station. It was unlike anything humans had ever seen before. The vessel stretched for miles, its surface covered in strange blue lights that pulsed like a heartbeat. The ship cast a shadow over the entire station, making the human structure look like a tiny toy in comparison. Captain Maria Rodriguez was having her morning coffee when the alarms started screaming throughout the station. She rushed to the command center where her crew was staring at their screens in shock. The readings showed energy levels that their instruments could barely measure. This was not a drill. "Get me a direct line to Earth Command," Captain Rodriguez ordered. Her hand shook slightly as she gripped her coffee cup. In 20 years of service, she had never seen anything like this. The ship just sat there in space, silent and threatening. Down on Earth, people stopped what they were doing and looked up at the sky. The alien ship was so large that it could be seen with the naked eye, even from the planet's surface. It looked like a new star had appeared, but this star was not natural. It was artificial, and it was waiting. The first communication came exactly 1 hour after the ship's arrival. The message was broadcast directly to every television, radio, and computer on Earth. Even phones received the signal. When the transmission began, a tall figure appeared on screens around the world. The alien was beautiful in a strange way. It had pale blue skin that seemed to glow from within. Its eyes were large and silver, and when it spoke, its voice was calm and musical. But there was something cold about the creature, something that made humans feel small and afraid. "People of Earth," the alien said. Its words somehow translated into every language on the planet. "I am Ambassador Zixthala of the Ethereal Dominion. I speak for the Galactic Council, the governing body of 12 advanced civilizations that maintain peace and order throughout this galaxy." The alien paused, letting its words sink in. Around the world, people gathered around their screens. Children stopped playing. Workers left their jobs. Everyone listened. "For many decades, we have watched your species with growing concern. Your rapid technological development and aggressive military expansion have caught our attention. You have developed weapons of mass destruction. You have begun to explore space with increasing frequency. Most troubling of all, you show no signs of slowing down." Ambassador Zixthal's expression remained calm, but its silver eyes seemed to look directly at each person watching. "The Galactic Council has seen species like yours before. Young races that develop too quickly, that reach for power without wisdom. Such species become threats to the peaceful order we have maintained for thousands of years." The alien moved closer to the camera, and its image filled screens around the world. "Therefore, the Council has decided to intervene before your species becomes a danger to yourselves and others. We offer you guidance and protection under our wise rule. You will dismantle your nuclear weapons. You will place all military development under our supervision. You will accept our teachers and follow our laws." A chill ran through the human population. This was not a request. This was a demand. "You have 72 hours to accept our generous offer," the ambassador continued. "If you refuse, we will be forced to take corrective measures to ensure galactic stability. Do not mistake our patience for weakness. The 12 civilizations of the Galactic Council have technologies and powers beyond your understanding. Resistance would be futile and tragic." The transmission ended as suddenly as it had begun. For a moment, the world was silent. Then chaos erupted. In Washington, the president called an emergency meeting with world leaders. In Moscow, generals studied satellite images of the alien ship. In Beijing, scientists worked frantically to analyze the brief glimpse they had gotten of alien technology. Around the world, people argued in the streets. Some wanted to surrender immediately. Others demanded that humanity fight back. Dr. James Peterson, Earth's leading expert on space technology, watched the recording of the alien message for the 10th time. Something bothered him about the ship's design. It was impressive, Yes, but there were things that seemed outdated. The energy readings were powerful but inefficient. The ship's design looked advanced, but showed signs of old technology. They think we're primitive, he muttered to his assistant. They think we'll just roll over and give up. In the United Nations building, representatives from every nation gathered for an emergency session. The debate was fierce. The representative from Switzerland argued for immediate surrender. We cannot fight beings with such advanced technology, he said. We must think of our children's future. But the representative from Australia disagreed. If we give up now, what kind of future will our children have? They want us to disarm completely. They want to rule us like pets. General Sarah Chun, the newly appointed head of Earth's Unified Defense Command, sat quietly in the corner of the room. She had been studying the alien ship through every telescope and satellite available. Her team had been working for hours, and what they found was surprising. The ship is big, she finally said, standing up. But big doesn't always mean better. Their shields use energy patterns we've seen before. Their weapons appear to be plasma-based, which we've been studying for years. Most importantly, they sent only one ship. The room fell silent. General Chun continued, if they were as powerful as they claim, why send just one ship? Why give us 3 days to think about it? Why not just force us to surrender immediately? Ambassador Zixtila stood on the bridge of the council ship, looking down at the small blue planet below. To the ambassador, this was routine. Another young species to guide and control. Another primitive civilization to bring into the Council's ordered galaxy. The ambassador had done this dozens of times before with other species. They always surrendered eventually, but something felt different this time. The humans had not responded as expected. There was no immediate panic, no quick surrender. Instead, there was strange silence from the planet below. The ambassador's assistants reported unusual activity around the planet. Ships were moving. Communications were increasing. The humans were planning something. Perhaps they need more convincing, the ambassador said to the ship's captain. Prepare a show of force. Destroy one of their satellites. Show them we are serious. But before the order could be carried out, something unexpected happened. A message arrived from Earth, broadcast on the same frequency the Council had used. It was short and simple. Thank you for the warning. We'll send you our answer soon. The message was signed by something called the United Earth Defense Command. Ambassador Zixtila had never heard of such an organization. This was not how primitive species usually responded. Usually, they begged or cried or asked for more time. The ambassador felt a small touch of uncertainty. Perhaps these humans would be different after all. General Sarah Chun stood in the deepest underground bunker on Earth. The command center was hidden beneath miles of rock and steel. Built during the Cold War, but upgraded with the most advanced technology humanity could create. Around her, hundreds of scientists and military officers worked at glowing screens and holographic displays. Show me everything we have on that ship, Chun ordered. Dr. Peterson appeared on the main screen, broadcasting from his laboratory in Switzerland. Behind him, banks of computers processed data from every telescope and satellite pointed at the alien vessel. General, you're not going to believe this, Dr. Peterson said, his voice filled with excitement and disbelief. That ship is using technology that we surpassed 10 years ago. The room fell silent. Chun leaned forward. Explain. Their fusion reactors are based on magnetic containment, principles we abandoned in 2035. Their plasma weapons use focusing techniques that we improved on 3 years ago. Their shields. General, their shields work exactly like our Mark 7 defensive barriers, except ours are more efficient. Another scientist, Dr. Lisa Wang from the Tokyo Research Center, joined the conference. General Chun, I've been analyzing their communication systems. They're using quantum entanglement for faster-than-light communication, But their implementation is crude compared to our current systems. It's like they learned the basics but never improved on them. Chun felt a cold smile spreading across her face. Are you telling me that these aliens who want to rule us are actually behind us in technology? In many ways, yes, Dr. Peterson confirmed. They have quantity on their side. That ship is massive and probably carries thousands of weapons. But the technology itself, it's old, outdated. In a secure facility in Nevada, Colonel Marcus Webb was having a very different conversation. He stood before a massive hangar door marked with warnings in 12 different languages. Behind that door was humanity's greatest secret. Sir, are we really going to show them? Asked Lieutenant Foster, his second in command. The general's orders were clear, Webb replied. It's time the world knew what we've been building. The hangar door opened with a deep rumble. Inside, in neat rows, stood machines that looked like they belonged in a science fiction movie. Sleek fighters that seemed to be made of liquid metal. Missiles that pulsed with internal energy. Weapons that bent light around themselves to become invisible. Project Prometheus, Webb said proudly. 20 years of reverse-engineered technology combined with human innovation. We found the crashed ships in 1995, 2003, and 2017. We learned from each one. But unlike the aliens, we didn't stop learning. We improved everything. The fighters were humanity's greatest achievement. They were faster than anything the Council had ever built. Their weapons could punch through any known armor. Most importantly, they were designed by humans who understood war in a way that the peaceful Council never could. Back in the command bunker, General Chun was speaking with world leaders through secure video connections. The President of the United States, the Prime Minister of Britain, the Chancellor of Germany, and leaders from every major nation watched as she explained the situation. Ladies and gentlemen, for the past 24 hours, my teams have been analyzing the alien threat. I can now tell you with confidence that we are not dealing with an overwhelming superior force. We are dealing with bullies who have become soft through centuries of easy victories. The President leaned forward on his screen. General, are you suggesting we can actually fight these aliens? I'm suggesting we can win, Chun replied firmly. But more importantly, I'm suggesting we must win. If we surrender now, humanity will spend the rest of its existence as slaves to alien masters. Our children will never know freedom. Our species will never reach its full potential. In orbit around Earth, something remarkable was happening. Satellites that had appeared to be space debris for years were suddenly coming to life. Automated factories on the moon, supposedly building simple mining equipment, revealed their true purpose. Hidden bases on Mars activated systems that had been dormant for decades. Dr. Wong was monitoring these activations from her control station. General, all Prometheus installations are online. Orbital platforms are charging their main weapons. The Luna base reports all production lines are at full capacity. Mars Command says they're ready to launch. Chun nodded. How long until we can begin the operation? 6 hours, General. But are you sure about this? Once we start, there's no going back. The aliens will know we were never the primitive species they thought we were. Good, Chun said. Let them know. It's time the galaxy learned something about humanity. On the alien ship, Ambassador Zixthala was becoming concerned. The ship's sensors were detecting unusual energy readings from around the Earth system. There were power sources activating that had not been there before. Or had they? The ambassador ordered a review of all sensor data from the past several years. Ambassador, the ship's science officer reported, we may have made an error in our initial assessment. There are installations throughout this system that we did not detect before. They appear to have been hidden or disguised. The ambassador's silver eyes narrowed. How many installations? We have counted over 300 so far, Ambassador. Large facilities on the planet's moon, automated systems in the asteroid belt, and what appeared to be military bases on the fourth planet. This was not normal for a primitive species. Most young civilizations barely managed to put small stations in orbit around their home planet. These humans had built an entire network of hidden facilities throughout their solar system. And the energy readings? The ambassador asked. Increasing by the hour, Ambassador. Whatever they are powering up, it requires enormous amounts of energy. Ambassador Zixthala felt something that no member of the Council had felt in centuries: uncertainty. For thousands of years, the Council had been the undisputed masters of the galaxy. They had advanced technology, powerful weapons, and the authority that came from being the strongest. But now, for the first time in millennia, they were facing something unexpected. Back on Earth, the final preparations were underway. General Chun stood before a holographic display that showed the entire solar system. Red dots marked Council ships. Blue dots marked human installations. The blue dots outnumbered the red dots by more than 100 to 1. General, Dr. Peterson called out. We're receiving another transmission from the alien ship. Put it through? Chun ordered. Ambassador Zixthala's face appeared on the main screen. The alien looked less confident than before. People of Earth, we have detected unusual activity in your system. We demand an explanation for these energy readings. You have 18 hours remaining to accept our offer of protection and guidance. Do not attempt to resist our authority. The transmission ended. Chun looked around at her staff. Every face showed the same expression: determination mixed with excitement. They had spent their entire careers preparing for threats from Earth's surface. None of them had expected to defend their planet from aliens. But they were ready. Send our response, Chun ordered. The message was short and broadcast on every frequency the aliens were monitoring. It reached not just the ship above Earth, but every Council vessel within 50 light years of the solar system. We reject your offer. We reject your authority. We are not your subjects, and we will not become your slaves. If you want a war, you'll get one. But remember, you started it. The message was signed by the United Earth Defense Command and carried one additional line that made Ambassador Zixthala's blood run cold. This is your only warning. The first missile launched from a hidden base on Mars at exactly 0600 Universal Time. It was sleek and black. No larger than a school bus, but it carried technology that represented 20 years of human innovation and reverse-engineered alien science. The missile accelerated smoothly, reaching speeds that would have been impossible just a decade earlier. General Chun watched from the command center as dozens of similar missiles launched from hidden locations throughout the solar system. Each one had a specific target. Each one carried a message. Prometheus 7 is away, reported Colonel Webb from the Nevada facility. All systems green. Time to target, 47 minutes. Prometheus 12 through 15 have launched from Luna Base, came another voice. Targeting the monitoring stations in the Alpha Centauri system. Dr. Peterson monitored the missile's progress from his laboratory. The projectiles moved faster than anything the Council had ever recorded. Their drives left no trail, made no radiation signature that Council sensors could detect. To alien instruments, the missiles simply appeared to vanish after launch, only to reappear seconds before impact. The plasma drive system is working perfectly, Peterson reported to Chun. The aliens won't see these coming until it's too late. On the Council ship above Earth, Ambassador Zixthala was reviewing diplomatic protocols when the ship's alarms suddenly screamed to life. The bridge erupted in chaos as officers tried to understand what their sensors were telling them. Ambassador, the science officer called out in panic. We're detecting massive energy launches from the planet's surface and its satellites. Multiple projectiles heading toward Council installations throughout the sector. That's impossible, the ambassador replied, but the certainty in the alien's voice was cracking. They don't have the technology for interstellar strikes. Ambassador, the projectiles are moving at speeds we didn't know this species could achieve. They're targeting our monitoring stations, our communication relays, even our research outposts. The first missile reached its target 39 minutes after launch. The Council's monitoring station in the Wolf 359 system had been watching human activity for 15 years. The station was small but sophisticated, designed to be invisible to primitive sensors. It had observed humanity's development from a safe distance of 8 light years. The missile struck the station, without warning. There was no time for distress calls, no opportunity for the 3-person crew to escape. The weapon didn't just destroy the station. It completely vaporized it, leaving nothing but glowing gas and metal fragments scattered across space. 18 minutes later, the second target disappeared. Then the third. Then the fourth. Each missile carried the same message, broadcast on Council frequencies just before impact. This is a demonstration of human capability. Withdraw all surveillance and military assets from human space immediately. This is your final warning. Dr. Wong was tracking the missile. Strikes from her station in Tokyo. Her screen showed Council. Installations winking out of existence across a crosses. 50 light-year sphere around Earth. General, we have confirmed hits on targets in 17 different star systems. All primary surveillance installations have been eliminated. What about their response? Chun asked. Nothing yet, General. I think we've shocked them into silence. On the Council ship, Ambassador Zisthala was experiencing something that no Council member had felt in over 1,000 years. Genuine fear. The bridge officers were reporting the systematic destruction of every Council asset within range of Earth. Installations that had taken years to build and position were being eliminated in minutes. How many missiles did they launch? The ambassador demanded. We counted at least 50 confirmed launches, Ambassador. But our sensors lost track of most of them immediately after takeoff. There could be twice that number. Contact the main Council fleet, the ambassador ordered. Tell them we need immediate military support. Ambassador, the communications officer said, his voice shaking. The main Council fleet is 12 days away at maximum jump speed. And, Ambassador, they launched something else. On the main screen, a new object appeared. It was much larger than the missiles, moving slower but with obvious purpose. As it approached the Council ship, its message began broadcasting. Council vessel above Earth. This is Admiral Sarah Chun of the United Earth Defense Command. The projectiles you have just witnessed represent the minimum necessary force to remove your surveillance network. They were precision strikes designed to destroy equipment while minimizing loss of life. The voice paused, letting the implications sink in. We are now transmitting technical specifications of the weapons used in these strikes. You will note that each missile carried enough destructive power to eliminate targets 10 times their size. You will also note that we have many more of these weapons. Ambassador Zixthala stared at the incoming data. The technical specifications were more advanced than anything in the Council's current arsenal. The humans had somehow developed plasma drive systems more efficient than Council technology. Their targeting computers were more precise. The warheads were more powerful. How is this possible? The ambassador whispered. Admiral Chun's voice continued. You assumed we were a primitive species because our cities look different from yours. You assumed we were weak because we have not conquered other star systems. You were wrong on both counts. The larger object that had been approaching was now close enough to scan. It was not another missile. It was a ship. But unlike anything the Council had seen before, it was smaller than the Council vessel but radiated energy signatures that were completely alien to their experience. We have been studying your technology for 25 years, Admiral Chun explained. We found your crashed ships. We studied your science. We learned your methods. But unlike you, we did not stop there. We improved everything we learned. Dr. Peterson was monitoring the Council ship's response from Earth. General, their shields are fluctuating. I think we've scared them. Good, Chum replied. They should be scared. Project the holographic display. Suddenly, space around Earth lit up with thousands of previously invisible objects. Ships, weapons platforms, missile launchers, and defensive installations appeared throughout the solar system. They had been there all along, hidden by advanced stealth technology. Waiting for this moment, Ambassador Zixthala felt the bottom drop out of their understanding of reality. The humans had not just built a few advanced weapons. They had constructed an entire military network that rivaled the Council's main battle fleets. And they had done it in secret, right under the Council's observation. You came here expecting to find a weak species that would surrender at the first show of force, Admiral Chun continued. Instead, you found something your people have forgotten how to handle, an enemy that fights back. The Council ship's tactical officer was analyzing the new threat data. Ambassador, we are seriously outgunned. The humans have more ships, better technology, and they obviously understand warfare better than our tactical computers predicted. Signal retreat, the ambassador ordered quietly. Admiral Chun, the tactical officer, said, "The alien ship is powering its jump engines." "Let them go," Chun replied. "But make sure they take our message with them." As the Council ship prepared to jump to faster-than-light speed, one final transmission reached them from Earth. This time, it was broadcast on every Council frequency, sent to every member species, every government, every military installation in the galaxy. To the Galactic Council, Earth rejects your authority over our species. We will govern ourselves, defend ourselves, and determine our own destiny. Any attempt to force your will upon humanity will be met with the same response you have just witnessed. The message continued, but now there was something new in Admiral Chine's voice. It was not just defiance. It was confidence. It was the voice of a species that had just discovered it was stronger than its enemies. We are not your subjects. We are not your pets. We are not your students. We are your equals, whether you accept that or not. If you choose to treat us as equals, we can discuss trade, cooperation, and mutual benefit. If you choose to treat us as enemies, you will discover why humanity has survived every threat it has ever faced. The transmission ended with coordinates and technical specifications for establishing diplomatic contact. But the real message was clear. The galaxy had a new major power, and that power was not interested in asking for permission. Ambassador Zixthala's ship jumped to hyperspace, carrying news that would change the galaxy forever. Behind them, Earth continued its preparations. Because General Chun knew that this demonstration was only the beginning, the Council would not accept this challenge easily. They would return with more ships, better weapons, and the combined might of 12 star-spanning civilizations. When they came, humanity would be ready. Asterisk. The Council fleet arrived exactly 11 days after Ambassador Zixthala's humiliating retreat. It was the largest military force the galaxy had seen in over 2 centuries. 400 ships from 12 different civilizations, carrying weapons that could destroy planets and shields that could withstand the heat of a star. Admiral Kethmorn of the Crystalline Hegemony commanded the fleet from his flagship, the Eternal Justice. He was considered the finest military mind in Council space, a strategist who had never lost a battle in 300 years of service. The Admiral studied the tactical displays showing Earth's solar system and felt confident in his overwhelming advantage. All fleet commanders, this is Admiral Kethmorn. He broadcast to the assembled ships. We are facing a young species that has somehow acquired advanced weapons through unknown means. They destroyed monitoring stations and made threats against the Council's authority. Today, we will show the galaxy what happens to those who challenge the natural order. The fleet moved forward in perfect formation, their shields glowing and weapons charged. Each ship represented centuries of technological development and peaceful cooperation between species. Together, they were unstoppable. General Chun watched the approaching fleet from her command center deep beneath Earth's surface. Around her, tactical displays showed the enemy formation in perfect detail. 400 ships against what the Council believed was a primitive planet with a few stolen weapons. Admiral Wong, are our forces in position? Chun asked. Admiral Lisa Wong, now commanding Earth's space forces from a hidden base on Luna, responded immediately. All units report ready, General. Orbital platforms are charged and targeted. Stealth squadrons are in attack position. Long-range missiles are armed and waiting. Remember, people, Chun announced to her command staff, these aliens think we fight like they do. They expect honor and rules and fair play. They're about to learn that humans fight to win. The Council fleet stopped just outside Earth's orbital space. Admiral Kethmoran opened communications on all frequencies, following diplomatic protocols that have been used for thousands of years. Primitive species of the third planet. You have committed acts of aggression against the lawful authority of the Galactic Council. You will surrender immediately and submit to judgment, or we will be forced to use overwhelming military action to restore order. The response came not from Earth, but from what appeared to be empty space between the Council fleet and the planet. Suddenly, 30 human ships appeared out of nowhere, their stealth systems deactivating to reveal sleek vessels that looked nothing like anything in the Council's databases. Council fleet. This is Admiral Wong of the Earth Defense Force. You are trespassing in human space. You have 60 seconds to turn around and leave, or we will consider your presence an act of war. Admiral Kethmoran almost laughed. 30 small ships against 400 massive battleships. Human vessels, you are vastly outnumbered and outgunned. Surrender now, and we will show mercy. 30 seconds, Admiral Wong replied calmly. The Council Admiral had enough of this primitive arrogance. All ships, open fire. Show them the price of defying the Council. 400 ships unleashed their weapons at once. The space between Earth and the Council fleet lit up with plasma bolts, energy beams, and quantum torpedoes. It was enough firepower to sterilize a planet, but when the light faded, all 30 human ships were still there, completely undamaged. Impossible, Admiral Kethmoran whispered. Our sensors show direct hits. Admiral, his science officer reported with confusion. The human ships appear to have some kind of adaptive shielding. Our weapons are having no effect. What the Council didn't understand was that humanity had been preparing for this exact scenario for 20 years. Every Council weapon they had encountered had been studied, analyzed, and countered. The human ships didn't just have shields. They had shields specifically designed to stop Council weapons. Admiral Wong's voice came across the communication channel, and now there was no politeness in her tone. You have chosen war. So be it. The human ships attacked with a speed and precision that shocked the Council forces. They didn't approach in neat formations or follow standard battle protocols. Instead, they moved like hunters, striking fast and disappearing before the Council ships could respond. But the real surprise came from what the Council had thought was empty space. Hundreds of objects that had appeared to be asteroids and space debris suddenly revealed themselves as heavily armed platforms. The Council fleet found itself surrounded by weapons they had never seen coming. All ships, evasive maneuvers. Admiral Kethmoran ordered, but it was too late. The human attack was not random or chaotic. It was carefully planned and perfectly executed. The humans didn't fight ship to ship like civilized species. They used swarm tactics, electronic warfare, and psychological attacks that confused and terrified the Council crews. Human missiles changed course mid-flight to avoid defensive fire. Human ships appeared and disappeared without warning. Most disturbing of all, The humans seemed to anticipate every council tactic before it was used. "How are they predicting our movements?" Admiral Cathmoran demanded. His tactical officer looked pale. "Admiral, they appear to have complete intelligence on our standard battle formations and tactical protocols. They know how we fight." Dr. Peterson, monitoring the battle from Earth, smiled grimly as he watched the Council fleet struggle against human tactics. 25 years of studying their crashed ships wasn't just about their technology, he explained to his staff. "We also studied their military databases, their tactical manuals, their battle records. We know how they think." The battle was not just about superior weapons or better shields. It was about the difference between a species that had fought for survival for millions of years and species that had known only peaceful cooperation for centuries. Council ships moved in predictable patterns and followed established rules of engagement. Human ships moved like predators, striking at weak points and disappearing before retaliation could come. When Council ships tried to form defensive formations, human forces split them apart with precision strikes at critical points. "Admiral," the tactical officer reported to Cathmoran, "we've lost 60 ships in the first hour. The humans are targeting our command vessels and support ships first, disrupting our formation and communication. Then we adapt," the admiral replied, but his confidence was shaken. "All ships, break formation. Engage in individual combat." It was exactly the wrong decision. The moment the Council ships broke their protective formations, human forces struck with devastating effectiveness. Small squadrons of human fighters swarmed individual Council ships, overwhelming their defenses through coordinated attacks. Admiral Wong watched the Council fleet falling into chaos from her command ship. "Deploy the psychological warfare package," she ordered. Suddenly, every Council ship began receiving broadcasts on their internal communication systems. The messages were in their own languages, showing detailed intelligence about each ship's crew, their families back home, their personal fears and weaknesses. "Crew of the Morning Star," one broadcast said, "your ship's life support will fail in 17 minutes unless you surrender immediately. Your families in the Centauri colonies will be informed of your death. You have children, ages 7 and 12. They will grow up without a father because your admiral chose pride over wisdom." The psychological attack was devastating. Council crews were trained for honorable combat between military forces, not personal threats and emotional manipulation. Many ships began surrendering rather than face what they believed was certain death. Admiral Cathmoran watched his mighty fleet being systematically destroyed by an enemy that refused to fight fair. "Signal general retreat," he finally ordered. But even retreat was not simple. Human forces had positioned themselves to cut off escape routes. Council ships that tried to flee found their hyperspace drives disabled by human electronic warfare systems. They were trapped in a system where every asteroid might be a weapon and every piece of space debris might be an enemy ship. "Admiral Wong," came General Chun's voice from Earth, "let some of them escape. We want survivors to carry the message back to the Council." "Understood, General." Opening Corridor 7 for retreat. Admiral Cathmoran's flagship and 73 other ships managed to escape through the single corridor the humans left open. Behind them, they left over 300 ships destroyed or captured, thousands of crew members dead or prisoner, and the shattered remains of Council military pride, as the surviving ships limped toward the edge of the solar system. They received one final transmission from Earth. "Admiral Cathmoran, this is General Chun. Your fleet came here to punish us for defending ourselves. Instead, you've learned what happens when you underestimate humanity. Take this message back to your Council. Earth is under our protection, not yours. Any further aggression will be met with total warfare, not the limited demonstration you experienced today." The transmission ended, but Admiral Cathmoran continued staring at his tactical screens in shock. The most powerful military force in the galaxy had been defeated by a species the Council considered primitive. Worse, the humans had made it look easy as his ship jumped to hyperspace, carrying news of the greatest military defeat in Council history. The Galactic Council chambers had not seen such chaos in over 1,000 years. Representatives from 12 civilizations argued, shouted, and demanded action while Admiral Kethmoran stood before them, his uniform still bearing the marks of battle damage from his damaged flagship. Council Prime Zarameth of the Ethereal Dominion called for order with growing desperation. The ancient chamber, built to inspire peace and cooperation, now echoed with voices calling for revenge, isolation, or complete surrender. The humans destroyed 3/4 of our most powerful fleet, Admiral Kethmoran reported for the 3rd time. They used tactics we have no defense against. They knew our weaknesses before we even engaged. Most disturbing of all, they held back. I believe they could have destroyed us completely if they had chosen to do so. Representative Qualthan of the Metal Singers spoke first. This is impossible. No species develops such advanced military technology without centuries of warfare. The humans have had peaceful periods for decades. That's where you're wrong, Admiral Kethmoran replied grimly. The humans never stopped preparing for a war. While we enjoyed peace, they studied every potential threat. While we celebrated cooperation, they perfected the art of destruction. Ambassador Zixthela, who had started this crisis with the initial ultimatum, stood to speak. The ambassador had spent weeks studying human culture and history since the first defeat. What the ambassador had found was terrifying. Fellow council members, I have reviewed human historical records. In their short recorded history, they have fought over 15,000 documented wars. Their entire culture is built around competition, conflict, and survival. They do not see war as an unfortunate necessity. They see it as a natural part of existence. The chamber fell silent. None of the council species had fought a real war in centuries. The idea of a species that lived in constant readiness for conflict was alien to their understanding. Council Prime Zarameth tried to restore order. What do they want? Surely they must have demands. They want nothing from us, Admiral Kethmoran answered. That's what makes them so dangerous. They don't want our technology, our resources, or our territory. They want to be left alone to develop as they choose. They see us as a threat to their independence. On Earth, General Chun was holding her own meeting with world leaders and military commanders. The victory over the Council fleet had been complete, but Chun knew that winning one battle did not end a war. The Council will not accept this defeat easily, she explained to the assembled leaders. They have governed the galaxy for thousands of years. They cannot allow a single species to challenge their authority without consequences. President Martinez of the Americas asked the question everyone was thinking. What happens now? Do we prepare for a larger war? We prepare for everything, Chun replied. War, peace, diplomacy, isolation. But we do it from a position of strength, not weakness. Dr. Peterson joined the meeting via holographic display from his new laboratory on Europa, where humanity's most advanced research projects were now taking place. General, our intelligence networks report interesting developments in Council space. Several member species are questioning Council authority for the first time in centuries. Explain, Chun ordered. The mineral collectives have stopped sending tribute ships. The Gentle Gardens have withdrawn their diplomatic missions. 3 species have requested direct communication with Earth, bypassing the Council entirely. The defeat of their fleet has shown other species that the Council is not invincible. Chun nodded. This was what she had hoped for. The battle was not just about defending Earth. It was about breaking the Council's monopoly on power in the galaxy. 6 months after the battle, the first non-Council ship arrived at Earth. It was a vessel from the Independent Traders Alliance, a collection of species that had maintained neutrality for centuries. The ship's captain, a creature that looked like a cross between a dolphin and an octopus, requested permission to establish trade relations. "We have watched the Council's defeat with great interest," Captain Velanara explained during the first diplomatic meeting. "Your species has proven that alternatives to Council rule are possible. We would like to discuss mutual benefits." Admiral Wong, now serving as Earth's primary diplomatic representative, met with the alien captain in Earth's new orbital embassy. The station had been built in the 6 months since the battle, designed to handle increasing contact with alien species who were bypassing the Council. "What can Earth offer that the Council cannot?" Admiral Wong asked. "Freedom," Captain Velanara replied immediately. "The Council offers protection and guidance, but at the cost of independence. Your species offers something different, the chance to choose our own path." Within a year of the Great Battle, 37 species had established direct relationships with Earth. Some wanted trade agreements. Others sought military protection from Council forces. A few simply wanted to study human culture and technology, thought the Council watched these developments with growing alarm. Their carefully maintained order was cracking, and they were powerless to stop it. Council Prime Zarameth finally decided that direct communication with Earth was necessary. The Council had never negotiated with an equal before, but reality could no longer be ignored. Ambassador Zixthala volunteered to return to Earth for formal negotiations. The ambassador had become fascinated by human culture and believed that understanding their enemy was the key to finding a solution. The meeting took place on Luna Base, in a conference room that looked out over the surface of Earth's moon. General Chun represented humanity, flanked by Admiral Wong and Dr. Peterson. Ambassador Zixthala came alone, a sign of either great courage or complete desperation. "Ambassador," General Chun said, opening the historic meeting, "what does the Council want?" "Peace," Zixthala replied honestly. "The Council has governed the galaxy for 3,000 years. We have prevented wars, settled disputes, and maintained order between hundreds of species. Your actions threaten everything we have built. Your order was built on the assumption that no one would challenge it," Chun responded. "You maintained peace by being the strongest force in the galaxy. Now you're not." The ambassador's silver eyes showed something that might have been pain. "What do you want from us?" "Nothing," Chun said, echoing what Admiral Kethmoran had reported. "We want the right to exist as we choose. We want other species to have the same right. We want the Council to continue existing, but as one power among many, not as the supreme authority over all life in the galaxy. And if the Council refuses..." General Chun leaned back in her chair. "Then the Council will discover that the battle 6 months ago was just a demonstration. We have been preparing for war our entire existence. You have been preparing for peace. If you force us to choose between freedom and survival, we will choose both." The negotiations continued for weeks. In the end, the Council had no choice but to accept a new reality. The Treaty of Luna established Earth as a sovereign power with the right to form alliances, trade relationships, and mutual defense agreements with any species that chose to participate. More importantly, the treaty established the principle that no single power could claim authority over the entire galaxy. The Council's age of absolute rule was over. Ambassador Zixthala remained on Earth as the Council's permanent representative. During the years that followed, the ambassador would write detailed reports about human society, trying to understand how a species could be so different from everything the Council thought they knew about intelligent life. 1 year after the treaty was signed, Ambassador Zixthala was observing human children playing in a park near the lunar embassy. The children were engaged in a complex game that involved strategy, teamwork, and simulated combat. Even their play was competitive and warlike. "Do you understand now?" General Chun asked, joining the ambassador at the observation window. "I am beginning to," Zixthala replied. Your species does not see conflict as something to be avoided. You see it as something to be mastered. Every human child learns that freedom must be defended, Chun explained. Every human adult understands that peace is maintained by strength, not by hope. We didn't choose to be warriors. We chose to survive, and in this galaxy, survival requires the ability to fight. Ambassador Zixthala turned to face the human general. The Council fears what you will become. A species as advanced as ours, but with your warrior culture, could conquer the entire galaxy. General Chun smiled, but it was not a threatening expression. Ambassador, we already have what we want. We have our freedom, our independence, and the respect of our neighbors. Conquest requires ruling over others, and that's too much work. We prefer to trade, learn, and explore. But we will always be ready to fight for the right to do those things on our own terms. The ambassador filed the final report to the council that evening. The conclusion was simple. Humanity was not interested in ruling the galaxy, but they would never again accept being ruled by others. The council could learn to live with this new reality, or they could face the consequences of opposing a species that had mastered the art of war. For the first time in 3,000 years, the galaxy had more than one major power. And for the first time in human history, Earth had taken its place among the stars as an equal.